Hey everyone. Did my surgery yesterday for my tubal ligation, so I can't have any more kids. Um, I don't mind because of the fact that I don't plan to date or have sex ever again in my life. So I'm thanking God for that much. Um, what's the next step? Who knows? I promised you guys that I was gonna update you guys on what I did as far as being able to do tube ligation and getting it done. There are two programs out in our area. You got Planning Parenthood, as well as you have the health department. It's like a clinic that does STD testing. I went to that clinic. I got completely checked up, and I also requested the services. They paid for everything. They paid for the for me to get the tube ligation. Thank God for them doing that for me. So now I cannot have any more kids. So that's having children is now out of the subject. There are ways that you can even with this, but I don't plan to do none of that. So I'm thanking the Lord for deliverance, but I there are ways that you can have it done and get certain things happening for you, but I don't plan to undo anything. I don't plan to reverse anything or do anything crazy. So I'm not looking forward to that, but I know that there's possibility of you still being able to. The next thing, I think that was pretty much all the stuff that we talked about and everything. I was given a lecture that is ungodly. The Most High God is going to be offended because you're getting a tubligation. And me personally, I feel like he's even more offended the fact that I'm being raped and I'm not willingly having sex. So when people start to say certain things about abortions and all of this different stuff, and you have to start asking questions like, okay, is it fair to a woman that has been raped to be forced to have a child, to be forced to go through the labor of bearing forth a child, even if the child is predestined for greatness? Is it fair to them? These women are being raped, and I know we hear about Mary and how she was pregnant with the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit sent her two angels and stuff like that, and now we're waking up to ill nation. And being awakened to it brings forth a whole new testament that has to be testified and has to be shown in this world. Two angels never appeared to me for any of my children, even the one that was removed from my womb unwillingly, without my permission. And I never got the chance to see it at all because I don't know whether it's a girl or a boy. My last daughter, this is my testament that I had to give her to my auntie because financially I could not afford to take care of her. So my uncle and my auntie assisted me and aided me and um, were helpers for me during that time. And I did not even get to actually spend time with her. I never ever get to really spend any time with her. And so I don't even know if she noticed me as her mom or just her cousin. I'm not sure, with everything that took place. But I tried to work in the best interest of her for her best interests. Um, as far as with my son, he was removed from me um, through a group targeting and through the group securing themselves, trying to show how strong they are, and was given to my mother. My other three children, we struggled the whole time from the moment that they were babies, even to the moment that they got older. We were caught up in the struggle. We never had money. We never had anything really, even when I was working and stuff like that, the means was never there to actually expand, grow, or to do anything. Just doing the basic necessities, I had to deal with being blacked out for months and then waking up to two bills after paying up my bills ahead of time. So for me, the money was never there. The opportunity for expansion was never there. I never really got to enjoy anything. So, to be totally honest with you, any of the decisions that I made, I feel good about. I have a belief in, as far as childbearing and giving forth birth to children. If you cannot afford to pay for everything yourself, you shouldn't be getting it done. Maybe y'all probably feel like that about the duplication too, but at the same time, I got it done. But my real opinion of it, because you hear these young women, I can afford to take care of my baby, I can do for my baby, but at the same time, they're on Section 8, they're on welfare, they're on food stamps, they're on all this different government assistance. And truth be told, you're not taking care of the child, the government is. So, for a person like me being straightforward, I don't believe that this is the day and age with everything that's happening for people to bear forth children that they cannot afford to provide for. And even if you can afford to provide for it, I remember working and everybody's like, oh, girl, you got a good job. You got one of them jobs that pay a lot of money, and it's like working at a convenience store type thing. To me, my perception of it. And talking to people about this type of stuff, they really don't understand. Like, I'm working like a dog. I'm working 6 days a week and I'm still not rendering results because my bills, I made sure that they were way low. I picked the lowest rent possible. I sat up there. I would try to budget as far as grocery wise to make sure that I had microwavable food for the kids and snacks that they like, as well as doing all of this on my own. So I bought my own groceries. I paid my own rent, light, water, everything, and my own medical expense I was taking care of. But the children's assistance I could not completely afford, so I had to go through Florida Kid Care and stuff like that. So that means that I was not independent. I was still dependent on a program to assist me with these kids, to assist me with my family. And a lot of people aren't understanding that. You're going out, you're saying that you're independent, but we are constantly leaning on and depending on others. It's not that we become completely independent when we don't need anyone else. You're still leaning on mom and dad. You're not completely independent when you have to call on your mom and dad and ask them to look out for your children. I remember having my last daughter, and I was faced with the point that either you can quit providing for the other four children, or you need to send this child to your auntie in order to provide for the other four, because I asked my mom would she watch the child for me when I give birth to it while I go back to work, and she said no. And at that time, there was no government program, no government assistance as far as daycare wise. A lot of times, these young women have to quit jobs, and that's what I was faced with. I had to quit a job and stop providing for myself, or choose to provide for the other four children and try to find the best alternative for the last child that I was impregnated with. And guess what? The dad had ran off. He didn't care. He did not want to provide for the child. He did not want to do anything. I sent him off to with family to go make money, working and stuff like that. Guess what? He never called. He never sent a check. He never sent nothing. He never did anything for the child. So I was just stuck fending for this child by myself and watching him on all these social media websites, flossing his brand new clothes, his brand new shoes, and everything nice that he had. while I had nothing. And I was faced with that decision. And I know anything that happened to her in my family's care, it could have happened to her with me. And I trust that they were making the best decision for her and doing the best that they can do for her, because I know how my auntie is. I know how my uncle is. And they have always tried to be God fearing people, tried to raise their children up in the church and everything, and tried to create such a positive atmosphere. And if they weren't able to achieve it, I don't believe that I could have did a better job myself. And I'm thankful for them. And hopefully I can get to spend time with the child someday, but see what happens and trust in God and let God deal with a lot of things. But nobody knows the truth about the story about me and my children and what all we went through. You know, you hear these stories, but nobody really knows the truth. We want to talk about baby daddies. Let me tell you something. You can be in love with a man, see him every day and night, and that's the only man that you seen yourself being with. I mean, you praise him, you worship them, but guess what? He didn't care. You were stuck there to raise a child by yourself. And that's the story with all of my children. I was stuck alone raising them, having to bring them up amongst different men and choosing a lifestyle that wasn't befitting for me or the children, and being docile and dumbfounded and not smart enough to call it quits with men. So, my advice to a lot of you young women, make sure that you let these dudes go. Make sure that you're making the best decisions for you and your children. If you have one child, you don't need to be constantly having kids every year. And young women, I'm going to tell you, I've been faced with the obstacle. I remember my two oldest children. I had one daughter. When I finished having her, I went to go get on birth control, Depo, and everything. Guess what? They didn't even give me birth control or Depo. They cut my Medicaid before that I could even get birth control. And this is something that they constantly do here in the state of Florida. They cut young women Medicaid. So as soon as you have a baby, the Medicaid is cut off. You go to the next doctor visit, they're telling you got to pay money to see the doctor sometimes. You can't even get a proper checkup. And this is what many young women are faced with and going through every day, you know, and that's because you don't have the money to pay for it yourself. And I started listening to a lot of Republicans, and a lot of people's like, you listen to who? I'm listening to the Republicans, I'm listening to the Democrats, I'm listening to a lot of different parties, and a lot of them are making sense. They're saying, hey, these people need their own money to manage their own health care and to actually see if they can actually manage their health care better, because going through HMOs, going through all of these different programs isn't helping them. Let's just give them the money and let's see if they can actually make themselves healthy again. And that's what I'm hoping will become the change here in America soon, that you're actually able to do your own healthcare, your own planning, your own healthcare planning, finding great providers and stuff like that. When a provider knows that it's connected to a network of providers, a lot of times you get poor services because they cannot actually treat you the way they want to treat you. And then another issue is sometimes the service get overcharged. So the doctor's doing all these random tests that isn't actually necessary, or they cannot even find probable cause for them doing them. So they're overcharging some providers and they're undercharging they're overcharging some providers, and there some people that need care aren't getting the care that they need because of the fact that the company refuses to pay it. So you have two different things that are going on that's actually conflicting with our health each and every day. So we have to look at all of this different stuff that's going on and try to make a better way and stuff. And I know you guys like, oh, she's supposed to be talking about obligations, and she's all onto some other stuff. All of this stuff is connected. My health is connected to this. My children are connected to this. My legacy is connected to this. And a lot of times we aren't in the position to actually speak on some of this stuff that's actually taking place and actually impart our wisdom and give our testimony to people so that they can understand. No, I don't want to have sex. It's a reason why I'm not having sex. First of all, you can't even get the medication to treat yourself if you catch an STD. They're charging an arm and a leg. It costs $300 and something to see a gynecologist and get a, a a culture, a pap smear. 300 and some dollars for a blood test to get the blood sample and stuff like that. That's another arm and a leg. That's $300. And then to actually do it all on your own, that's an arm and leg. You can't even afford to have sex. I don't even know why people doing it. You can't afford to do it. You get what I'm saying? And if you have Medicare, pretty much it's the same results. Let's say that you have sex, you just get a pap smear and you go out and have sex and you catch STD. Guess what? You're not allowed to have another pap smear for 6 months unless the doctor can find probable cause. So you say, you go in, oh, I'm having this, this, and this. Well, we just did a pap smear. There was nothing wrong with you. If you're with the same partner, there shouldn't be nothing wrong with you. And you may be with the same partner, but just don't mean that you're in the same situation. So that's stuff that people are faced with every day. So to safeguard yourself from STDs, don't have sex. Okay? That minimizes doctor visits, period. And even with not having sex, you still have to go to the doctor every month almost now to every 3 months and get checked out because we're dealing with COVID. COVID is more than just a disease, it is an attack on all citizens. Um, it's so much more that we're dealing with that I can't say. And I sat up and I looked at my daughter and talked with her, and I'm very proud of her. She's such a great mom. She's like a superwoman to me. She's awesome. But we haven't been in a good place because she's carrying on with so much, and I love her, but I get tired too. So just gotta wait until she makes up her mind to come around and do what she has to do or whatever, as far as with me, as far as her mom. And I'm trying to reach out, but at the same time, it's her. If she wants a mother, she'll make room for a mother. If she doesn't want one, she's not gonna make room for it. And that's just something that I gotta realize. But I know it's not her. I know it's her enemies trying to pull her away from me to do whatever they want to do to her. And that's with all of my kids. So at this point, all I do is stay prayed up, read the Bible, do the best I can do, reach out, try to contact my family as much as possible, try to be a positive role model, positive influence, and that's about all I can do, and let God guide me. Um, Please comment on my videos. I have made it my duty to somewhat walk people through some of the stuff that I go through all day. Um, from here on out, I'm going to be doing my testimonies and testaments about things that are taking place in my life, going on with me, and stuff like that. Hopefully, somebody got guidance from it. Sometimes you don't, and it just is what it is because I have so much to divulge, and sometimes I don't get a chance to divulge it. So, from here on out, I do a testament video every day about what I go through, how my day went, or whatever. And whether they're short or long, I'm going to do a testament. Okay, so hopefully these words encourage you guys. Hopefully things are great with you guys. Stay up, and yes, know that there is so much going on that you have to stay prayed up every day, all day, Read that Bible, get into it. I'm telling you, God is real. He's ready to show himself to you, especially in these dark times, even though we're being attacked. He's ready to show himself. So stay prayed up. Take care.